Funded by the Denver Foundation's Arts Infinity Group, a community collaboration with a vast scope was spearheaded by several organizations that included the Center for Digital Storytelling, Bumport Theater, Warm Cookies of the Revolution, and East High School in Denver, Colorado. The innovative collaboration was designed to examine civil rights engagement through an intergenerational lens with a multimedia approach. The idea was that by partnering these organizations with their respective art forms together, as a community, we could explore what our civil rights are and how we fight for them. By bringing a core ensemble of East High School students together with elder activists, community members, and digital media and theatrical professionals, the semester-long project catalyzed education and communication through the arts. The process would begin with several workshops and events that would allow the participants to craft their own digital stories, participate in community discussions, and would culminate in the creation of an original theatrical piece about civil rights. The project not only connected generations, but also families. Anna Jo Garcia Haynes, a lifetime activist, was joined by her daughter Happy Haynes, who has been a prominent leader in Colorado for decades.
I knew after Happy was born, that there was just great discrimination, and she grew up with that. Kids picked on her, there were all those kinds of things, and I thought, well, I need to be involved in a very significant way in making sure that things are equal for people. And, I feel again right now that the civil rights movement is the education movement. And, we've got to, do something about that. And so I've spent my life, in a sense, doing that.
So for somebody who fought so hard, then to see some of those same oppressions come back around, what do you do?
Well, I vacillate between thinking, was it worth it? And of course the answer always is yes, of course it was. But then I think, oh my gosh, how can we be back here? What did we not do that we should have done that would have been better? And of course I have a lot of thoughts about that, and one is that we got comfortable. We didn't take those uncomfortable moments and continue to live with them. We just got complacent, and I think you can't do that or you will relive it. Every good movement in this country has been done by a plan and by the heart. Because if your civil rights movement was totally in the heart, everybody felt moved by that. So that's how you move people. You move people by their hearts, and you move them when you have a plan about what you think the end could be and what you want to do. And it helps you sustain your energy to be able to get to that place. So it's really disheartening to see this going back the other direction.
Happy also had an engaging story to tell.
It was March 19, 1969, and I was about to defy several school rules, my principal's specific admonition, and most importantly, my mother's very strict orders not to attend the rally at West High School. The students at West would likewise be walking out of classes later that morning and holding a protest rally to denounce the racist comments of a West teacher and demand that their history and culture be included in the curriculum. Our plan was to walk out of our classes at East, march to West High School, and join the rally in solidarity with their cause. My argument with my mother didn't go well. She, a dedicated civil rights activist herself, and had participated in many marches and on many picket lines. I admired her greatly and couldn't understand why she was discouraging me from participating in this battle for justice. She had supported our efforts at East, but she thought there might be violence at this event, and she was concerned for my safety. So she laid the law down. No going to the rally, period. So now I had 3 battles going. One with the system, one about the split between black and brown, and the biggest one with my own mother. By the time we arrived at West, the rally was already underway. It wasn't a large crowd, and we were surrounded by scores of police with batons. We were proud and excited to be there. I had done it, stood up for what I thought was right. I'd escaped injury and arrest. But I knew I still had to face the music. I learned some things about myself, and like you guys were sharing some things that were on my mind and that I didn't even realize was going on at the time. And part of it was, being following a person who was such an activist and, had stood up so many times and, not understanding why when I was doing it, it seemed different in her mind, and so that was a particularly tough struggle for me.
I had this curiosity whether when Anna Jo stood up it didn't feel different and there weren't those kinds of conflicts going on simultaneously in your years as in activism.
Those same kind of conflicts that she faced.
That's what
They were there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you need to know the aftermath of that was I was extremely proud of her. I'm very glad she was safe.
Right, of course.
Had you heard that before?
No, I don't think so. So many words, because we didn't really talk about it afterwards. And I guess I could have concluded that she, on my own, that she was sort of proud of, years later, maybe, that, after the drama of it had passed, that, she would understand and, not be judging me anymore. But, it hasn't been an explicit conversation. And certainly I had no idea that it was, I'm proud of you in the moment, which was back then.
And my whole thing was the danger involved, because I had done a lot of pickets, been involved in danger myself. I knew it was dangerous.
Yeah.
So.
For some reason, I feel like, is this still like a middle story?
Pardon?
Like between you two, is this still a middle story? A story that you're in the middle of, like working through who you were in this standoff.
We haven't
against
really
one
talked
another.
about it a lot.
That's exactly what I meant. Like, I got the sense that you were saying this thing that you hadn't necessarily voiced to your mom before.
Yeah, I wasn't aware
Right here.
exactly that you were proud of me. As I recall, I was in big trouble afterwards.
Well, I think kids would always feel that way. They would.
Right.
Because I was important to you and you cared what I thought about.
Like in this kind of space in between you two here at the
Right.
table, that part of one of the most important scenes of your story was happening just right now.
Well, so I was when you put my mother in the group, and I was like, okay. So right in the center.
The conversation continues, and your voice is an essential part of the narrative. Stay engaged.